What's going on? Money Morning Live. Tom Gentile has survived the storm, as have many of the others that we have over there in Florida. He's back today with Power Profit Trades and catching us back up on the markets. Let's bring in Tom in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey everybody, I'm back. Wow, what an absolute crazy week. Welcome to Power Profit Trades. You know, Ian threw us off schedule last week. I really wanted to do a Wednesday, but I got to tell you, it was blowing around so bad on Wednesday here at the Gentile compound. I was just worried that we were going to get cut off, and we actually did. We actually lost power. I could have done the show. We lost power, but honestly, I would not have been in the right frame of mind. I mean, so many things I could talk to you. I could spend the entire half hour talking about what was going on around here. But I do want to thank all of you who were concerned about me. I know a lot of you were like, what's going on with Tom? Is everything okay? I'm going to take you through the last 5 days here in 5 minutes, and then we're going to get right into it. But I want to thank all of you for your concerns, your questions. My team passed on your best wishes to me, and I really appreciate that. So we're going to pick up where we left off here with cryptocurrency, and we got a lot going on this week. I want to talk about cryptocurrency today, tomorrow. I think I might get into earnings because we're getting into earnings season 2 before the week comes out. Just so much I want to do, and I want to, like I said, I want to do a review of what we did last week. And then I really want to do a deep dive into darknet tomorrow and what our darknet strategy is and put that together. Plus, I promised that I was going to be teaming up with Nick Black. So we're going to get together tomorrow sometime, either on his show or my show, or maybe it is his show and my show together. We will figure that out, folks. So a lot going on. I do want to discuss 3 new coins that are on my watch list. I wanted to do it last week, and of course it didn't happen. So I'm going to show you what 3 coins those are. We'll take a look at those and what we're looking to get ready to pull the trigger on. So let's get at it. Eric, how was the weekend, my friend?
Oh, the weekend was good, filled with sports. I know what you're just about to share with everybody, so I'm happy to see that you are here, healthy, all good to go, that the compound is all right and in good hands. But you made it through the storm. That's a big deal. Now it's time to get back to trading, talking about crypto today. It was a good weekend for me, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do, my trading, I try to keep it as unemotional as possible. It's like moving chess pieces around. For instance, today the markets are up. I actually took some profits and took some stuff off the table and went into cash because I don't think the bottom is in the stock market yet. I think cryptocurrency is actually holding up really well, all things considered, which is why I want to talk about it again today. But let me tell you what happened to me on Wednesday. So Wednesday, I got 5 pictures to show everybody. Let's throw the Wednesday picture up. All right. So this is what I'm looking at on the radar. And I just want to kind of show you where everything is. All right. Sarasota is right there in the middle. Then there's Tampa above. There's Fort Myers down there. There's the eye wall coming in, and it's actually coming into Charlotte Harbor. That projection shows it going really in between Fort Myers and Sarasota, heading straight up as a category 3. That blue dot that you see there next to the 3, Eric, that's where I live.
I thought it might be.
That's where I am. And so I'm looking at this thing. This is a 1 o'clock. Actually, I snapped this at 1:03 p.m. right before the power went out. So I got that snapshot, and I'm looking at this. Let me back up a little bit, guys. So the weekend coming into this, I'm a prepper, okay? Anybody who is an option trader that hedges portfolios, that hedges their risk, we're preppers. We're financial preppers, but I had to be a hurricane prepper. So what did I do? All right. I ended up, guys, by Wednesday having 100 gallons of gas on the property. I had 100 pounds of propane, and I had 100 gallons of water. So that's what I had stored up, ready to deploy. Because, I mean, where I live, if the power went out, I fully expected we were going to be out of power for at least a week. So I'm ready. Everything's battened down. I took anything that wasn't nailed down and put it away. maybe I forgot a couple of things. I saw some stuff blowing around the yard anyway. So Wednesday and Thursday is when this thing went through. Throw up Thursday, Eric. So this is a snapshot of Thursday morning when the wind stopped blowing. That is part of my yard. And so as you can see right there, that part underwater. In fact, I want to venture to say 40 to 50% of my entire yard, the entire property we have looked like this. And so luckily the house was not flooded. We're above all this. The barn was not flooded, although barn came kind of close. But Eric, this is typically dry, and there's a little stream that runs all the way at the end. That stream overflowed because the Myakka River overflowed, the Peace River overflowed, and it was throwing everything down into even the small creeks. So my small little creek, which looks so small, it's maybe ankle deep if you get into it, maybe a little bit more. I mean, it came all the way up and came right up to and over the driveway. So that was going on. Generators on, power's out. I got the generator running, and it's a matter of basically just kind of hanging out and waiting for the water to recede. So the water actually receded. This is the shocking part, Eric. That water continued to move on down, and it was out of there by Friday morning. The driveway was cleaned out. We now are in an area called standing water. So put Friday's chart up. This was probably the worst picture that was around the house. This is the pool. It was green. Now, on St. Patrick's Day, this was the right color for the pool. But we didn't have to dye it green because tree limbs and branches and stuff were down there at the bottom. You can't see it, but you can see all the muck there. And I'm like, wow, this is great. This is where I need to start. I need to start around the house and work my way out. So that was when cleanup began. The power came back on Friday afternoon. We were without power for about 48 hours. I was actually shocked at how fast it came back on. So we ended up sending a lot of our supplies south. Saturday, heavy cleanup. Didn't say this, but we got a lot of folks that are staying at our house here and a couple of the other ones that we have in the area because they just don't have, for instance, my brother-in-law lives in Port Charlotte. So Port Charlotte was where the storm came up, and they're not going to have that. That place looks like a war zone down there. You've seen it all. I can't tell you anything more than you've seen, other than the fact that 75 was cut off. He couldn't get back down to his house. Then he got down to his house yesterday. Luckily, we have almost no rain in the forecast for the next week, so he reshingled his roof with various colors, because that's all he could get a hold of. He was lucky too. He had wind damage. He didn't have flood damage. We've got friends that are in Fort Myers that no longer have a home. And so now they're up here with us. We have friends in Venice that are dealing with wind damage too. So, I mean, everybody knows somebody down here that was really affected by the storm. But we had heavy cleanup. So we were taking down trees that were on the fence. We were taking on trees that were hitting the ground. I had trees that were like 100-year oak trees that didn't make it through the storm. But Eric, I want you to put that last picture up. So the last picture was last night. Sun was setting last night, and we had a cleanup party going on at the place. And this is the good side. The other side still has a good bit to go, but we're about 80% of the way there. I got a lot less trees, but property looks pretty good. So I was one of the lucky ones. And again, my heart goes out. Our hearts go out to the folks that were south of us. And so all my stuff is heading south. It was already on the way over the weekend. I think the big commodity that everybody wants now, Eric, is not just generators, but chainsaws, chippers, something to get rid of all the trash, because the trash isn't going anywhere right now. So I'm sitting here trying to think, do I want to burn it? No, you know what I want to do? I want to shred most of it because I need mulch anyway. So that's really kind of what we're looking at here. But again, guys, thank you for all the comments that you had, and thank you for the kind words. I'm looking in the chat right now, and oh my gosh, there were just so many people that are having to deal with it. Fort Myers it looks like, it really does look like a bomb got dropped on the town. Fort Myers, Naples, and that whole surrounding area. 30 miles. If this storm would have come 30 miles north, that would have been us. That's part of that was luck that played into this. I think our house would have been fine regardless, but everything would have been leveled in the form of vegetation for sure. So anyway, guys, stay safe, stay dry, and help is on the way. I mean, I see it on 75. Convoys are constantly going south, and if if you haven't been got to yet, they're going to get you. And then the last thing I want to mention is that last week I saw something that was I thought was kind of funny. This was before the hurricane came in, and it had to do with inflation. And so Cardi B, not on my playlist. All right, but how can you not see her? Because she's in the news quite a bit. She was in the news talking about inflation, talking about grocery prices, and I can't go through the whole spiel. But she said, "I can't believe grocery prices are this high. How can people afford to live? My family's happy because they got me. They got a me to help rely on helping them. But what about people that ain't got a me?" And I thought about that, and I was thinking about the same exact thing. It came back into my head like that. So, I mean, hopefully you've got family, you've got friends, like I said, we're in the aftermath, Eric. We're in the process of starting to help others. So anyway, guys, let's get to what we want to cover. I know I took more time than I wanted to, but today I really want to do a recap. I got a ton of stuff that, and I've got a lot more time tomorrow that I'm going to get into this, but we're going to walk away with 3 new coins that I want to share with you that are on the watch list. Before I do, however, let's pop over and let's look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and really what's kind of been happening in the last week, which has really been a lot of nothing, Eric. I mean, if anything, we're seeing higher lows, which is what I want to see. All right. So here's my chart. This is Bitcoin. You can see the highs that occurred. Now, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at multi-month levels. So we moved off of that 17.5 level back in June, ran up to around 25. I'm going to call it 24,449. You see here, that was the closing high. From there, we started to drop on in again. Interest rates go up. Bitcoin going down. It's acting like the stock market, but in a much greater way. But look what's happened since about the middle of really the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, we came in at 18,468, and we've just kind of been starting to create a small series of lower highs and lower lows. I don't want to get excited. I've said this before. Let's see what ends up panning out. I really do believe, Eric, that Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to have slow burns to the upside, not the downside. I still think we got some more headaches in the market. I've heard folks like Mark discuss that when Apple goes, so goes Apple, so goes the market, so goes Tesla, so goes the market. I'm in full agreement with him because, if you've got an Apple or a Tesla, these are 2 stocks that have been in people's portfolios forever. If they have to sell these stocks because things are getting bad, that's when capitulation happens. And I believe that's when we actually see the bottom. We haven't seen any capitulation. It's been like a slow burn. Although I got to also think if there was a bullish case to be made, the hurricane that just came through that hit Florida and then the Carolinas, that might possibly make the Fed kind of pull back a little bit and say, wait a minute, do we want to raise interest rates now that we've had this huge push and huge blow to what is probably the 3rd biggest economy in the country, behind California and Texas. California, Texas, New York, Florida. I mean, Florida right now, I believe, has more voters now than the state of New York. So, they have to look at that. They have to look at the economy of Florida and what's going to come out of this. And that might be part of the reason why the markets are up today as much as they are. So, again, looking at Bitcoin, you've got that downtrend, but that downtrend ended just after mid-September. We're getting a little bit of a move to the upside. We'll see if that pans out. How about Ethereum? What's been going on with ETH since then? Let's move over And let's look at ETH because I want to share that chart with everybody as well. And I'm really only looking at really a 60, 65 day chart, folks, because I just want to get that high to low. That high in Ethereum, 1984. That was the closing high. The intraday high was over 2,000. What's happened since then? We dropped. We came roaring back to almost 1,800. And then, the big move happened between, I want to say, just after Labor Day. For about 2.5 weeks, we just dropped down hard into, again, about the 20th, 21st of September. Since then, we've seen Ethereum really kind of trudging along that 1250 level. Having a good day today. I'd really like to see it close above yesterday's low. Where are the important numbers? With Bitcoin, it's 20,000. I didn't show this to you, but I'm saying it right now out loud. 20,700. With Ethereum, it's 1528. Is the new area that we got to get to and get above before I start to really feel good about these, right? Long term, I absolutely feel good about them. But I'm talking as a trader. For those of you that are getting in with the idea you want to be getting out pretty soon, those are the resistance levels that we're looking at now on Bitcoin and Ethereum, all right? So last week we discussed Fibonacci. Last week we discussed currency waves. I'm not going to get into those with everybody right now because if you really want to see that, go back and run the replays that I did on Monday and Tuesday. That'll help you out. I want to get to these 3 coins, Eric. I want to get to these new coins that have popped up on our radar that we are now looking at and evaluating.
I want to hear about these coins as well.
I want to talk about is something called, the symbol is COVAL. Okay, so let's go take a look at that. COVAL is what I'm looking for. All right. Now, what is COVAL? COVAL is circuits of value. All right. One of the best performing coins of the month. And you can see in the last month, and you can see what ended up happening to it. It went from, now these are priced out. Take a look at what COVAL was trading at. It's roughly 1 to 1.5 cents as of the 17th of August. It went from less than a penny and a half all the way up to above 3. It did a double in one day, but then look what happened the very next day. Came rip roaring right back down. So circuits of value ran up in one day, and look what's happened to it since then, right? Took a little bit more in a month, but the coins come right back down from where it initially rallied to, okay? Big news information that happens, and then the runoff. So now we're right back down where we were before. This is interesting to me, and it's a good, what I like to call, it's more of an aggressive stance, but we're waiting for the next buying opportunity to jump into COVAL. Now, we're going to keep a close eye on this coin, but what I'm looking for, all right, folks, what I'm looking for here is we need a currency wave buy. I don't have a Fibonacci buy on it. This fib level went from 0 to 100 back to 0. No fib level buy at all on this, but I got 2 other strategies I'm looking at. We're looking at currency wave buys, which will probably take a few days, maybe a week, 2 tops, to see if that actually comes true. The other thing we'll be looking at is we're going to be looking at channel opportunities. And it's hard. When you look at this chart right here, it is hard to see channel opportunities on something that did a double in one day and then drop back down the month following. But we are going to be looking for channel opportunities out past this chart. So that's something we're looking at too. So stay tuned on that one. All right, let's take a look at our second coin. So our first one that we're adding is COVAL to the watch list. Those of you that are part of Microcurrency Trader, you already know this. We discussed this last week. But I wanted to bring these 3 coins up to the folks out there that think all I do is discuss Bitcoin and Ethereum and nothing else, right? Yeah, we could sit here and talk hours about the thousands of coins that are out there and why most of them are not worth looking at and why a few of them are. But I thought I would share with you my top 3 that have recently hit our watch list. Second one we're looking at, it's, well, let me give you a little clue. It's like a fish. In fact, it's a big fish. Orca coin. Let's go ahead and bring that up on the screen. Strong relative strength as of recently, although you can see the relative strength was happening. We had a down move, right? Let me bring this out to a 100-day chart on Orca so you can see kind of a little bit more of an idea what's going on with this one. right? So we had that down move. So the low was 71 cents. The high was $1.14. Wasn't a double, but we're not looking. So we're looking at 50% moves on a lot of these coins when they're trudging along the bottom. Orca, great relative strength versus the rest of the market, especially the last couple of weeks, where we've seen the Bitcoins and Ethereums pull back, but yet Orca remained pretty solid. If I get into the last 30 days, you'll see what I mean. Here's your last 30 days. Look at this thing. Up, down, and we're sitting, we dropped down a little bit today, but we're eyeballing that 81 cent as an area where possibly we might be getting into it. But again, I've got to have reasons other than the fact that it's cheaper. It would be cheaper at 81 cents than it is at 83 today. Okay. So while we saw coins losing those big amounts, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, Orca's actually held pretty strong, right? Now it remains below a lot of its moving averages. That's one thing we're looking at, right? We're going to need to see a currency wave crossover to the upside. That's not happened. I'm telling you that I've got Orca on the watch list because it's starting to generate what we like to call some alpha moves. It means it gets a big push up, big push down. That's where money is made in a lot of these coins. A lot of these coins that sit still, kind of like Orca's been doing in this area. I mean, this is not what I'm looking for, right? But it's starting to break back down to the downside, which is fine. We don't own it, okay? We want to own it, but we want to own it when our strategies tell us to pick it up as a coin. Okay. So that is coin number 2. All right. Coin number 3. Let's go all the way to the top. And I want to talk about coin number 3. And the symbol is AST. This is AirSwap. So AirSwap, take a look at it. And, if we were looking at this a couple of weeks ago, you can see AirSwap. This is just the last 30 days, folks. Low was just below 9 cents. You can see it here on the screen. Look at that high. That high clocked in up here near 16. And the real high was closer to 18. It had a near double between, I want to say, the 6th of September and the 18th, 19th of September. He had that big pop up. And then over here, we jumped up above 18 to near 19 cents before dropping back down, right? Low to high we see here. We see a pullback that's happened. Now today, it's interesting because AirSwap is actually on the upside when a lot of the altcoins are pulling back compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. AirSwap is one that's moving with them. Again, what are these 3 coins what are they signifying? They're signifying that they're alpha coins, that they have had better relative strength over the past month than Bitcoin, than Ethereum. But are they classified as buys right now with the microcurrency community? No, all right, because we need a rules-based trading system to really get us into the area that I like to begin to start picking some of this up. All right. Eric, are there any questions on on these 3 or Bitcoin or Ethereum that you see that we can answer real quick as we head into the end of the program?
I do have a question that came through from Volkswagen 66 Bus. Tom, what about selling to open out of the money options with 1 day or day of expiry to go? Theta positive trade. Risks, that doesn't mean much to me, Tom. It probably means a lot more to you. Is that something that we can address right now? I have another one about Ethereum as well.
Yeah, so that sounds like a general question on stock options. And the answer is, if you're, and we're talking about, the options I trade are, if I'm going to get outside of the Friday options, I like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday options on things like SPY. Now, there's using SPX might make more sense because SPX is cash settled. So at the end of the day, if you're in the money, they're just going to subtract. If it goes against you, it's just a small subtraction of what you ended up losing versus what you took in. And if it goes in your favor, then obviously then you're talking about selling something that's out of the money with a day to 2, 3 tops expiration, where your expires worthless, so you keep the money. It's a great strategy, but you got to realize that even cash settled options that settle out of cash, they could go against you a lot more than they could go in your favor, because there's only a limited amount you could take on the sell side, but then there's so much you could lose on the buy side. If you're selling put options and you get that big rundown, yeah, it'll get you out at the end of the day because you'll go to cash. You just might have a lot less cash than you started with. I hope that answered the question. But
Sure
yeah, I mean,
did.
it's a viable strategy with what's going on in the markets these days. But you just got to have, to me, you got to have a little bit bigger of an account. You got to have a little bit thicker skin too, if you're going to get into selling day only options. Now, you had a question on Ethereum, so let's hit that too.
Sure, Tom. We got this one right here from Craig out of North Carolina. When did Ethereum change to the new Ethereum? Is this the cause of the Ethereum drop?
Okay, so we had the Ethereum merge, and it wasn't old Ethereum, new Ethereum, but we did have the merge that happened. And believe it or not, it happened. If I bring up ETH one more time, we discussed this last week too. This was definitely, and we didn't know it was going to happen. We were discussing it. Was this going to be a sell, buy the rumor, sell the news event? And that's exactly what happened, because if you go back and you look, what day did they do the Ethereum merge? Wasn't it the 14th? Was
Oof,
it the 12th or the 14th?
that's something I'm going to ask Google.
So anyway, you got 10, 11, 12. This was the top, not the all-time top, but the top running up off that 1,000 low. And then from there, it was just a complete sell the news piece that ended up happening. And plus, there were a lot of miners. There were a lot of folks that were just dumping Ethereum after the 12th of September, at least for the next 2 weeks. We had 2 weeks of dumping going on with Ethereum. We'll see where we end up at now. It's actually held its ground pretty well, because we're in an area which I think is a really good value area. Anything below in that 1250 area, I've got limit buys out there at 1,000. But folks, that's long term. My microcurrency strategy is we look for those rules-based buying opportunities. We buy. We actually have targets. I've got a 90-90 win rate going on all the way back to 2018 based on that particular strategy we use. Eric, you've got a couple of those trades. We put different ones up every week, but here's some of them that popped up. KNC, that was 150%. Compound, 112. UMA 100, Orchid 100, Curve 100, Enzyme 100, Numair 300, Yearn Finance 150. We have taken off 172 trades that we've closed up, 90% of them profitable. Average win ratio 90%. Even when you factor in a lot of the open positions we have on right now, still net profitable. I am a rules-based trading guy in good times and in bad, and that 90-90 win rate is evidence of that, folks. So if you want to be a microcurrency trader, links on the screen, phone numbers on the screen as well if you have questions. Tomorrow, we're going to get together with Nick Black, and we are going to continue on our cryptocurrency journey. So join me back here again tomorrow, same time, same place. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Stay dry. I'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye, everyone.